are back for another Cities of Sigmar painting video. And today we are painting the Living City. And I'll just read you the blurb real quick here on Living City. Pale light green cloth and ruddy leather. Metal armor features a green tint. Lichen and mossy growths on shields and weapons. So, if the camera will focus, here we go. We're going to start with Poxwalker Shade. And I think we're going to do 2 coats of this. I haven't used this color a lot, but I think it's going to be the color that I'm going to want for this. But because it is a shade, it's not a contrast paint. It comes out very, very light. And so I think we will need 2 coats of it. But it's sort of like a bluish tinted green. It's not really tinted blue, but it's like it's a cool green, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. As opposed to a warm green, like a neon green. Or a goblin green. Goblin green would be a warm green. And I've also picked a relatively complex shield here. Some of the filigree kind of curls around other parts of the wood. But that's okay. We will get it done nonetheless. So I'm going to get this a little too much in there. There we go. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to do a second layer of it. And then once that all dries, I will come back and we will do the center diamond. All right, we're back, and our Poxwalker Shade is nice and dry. Now we're going to do 2 colors in this step. We're going to start with Talos Bronze, and that's going to be for the filigree up top here. Again, that's part of the Speedpaint 2.0 line. And then we're going to take Skeleton Horde and do that middle diamond. But we're going to start with Talos Bronze, and I've already got some out on a palette here. I'm just going to start in here, putting it on all this filigree. And I'm putting it on pretty lightly. Probably, it could probably be doubly as intense if I put it on thicker. That's probably its limit. So about half strength. And I'm just doing that by the amount of area that I'm pushing the amount of paint on, basically. That's how you, at least I shouldn't say that's how I get different consistencies and different looks out of contrast paint. Because I always feel like thinning contrast paint is a recipe for disaster. It won't always work very well. You'll kind of mess up the cohesion of the paint. Even if you use contrast medium, I just don't think it always works so well. So I just push less paint around more model, and that seems to be just fine for me. I'm sure there are plenty of painters who do thin their contrast paint, and if it works for them, that's awesome. I'm just telling you what works for me. Just come along here, just get it slightly darker. There we go. So now we're just going to go straight into Skeleton Horde, and that's going to be for this middle diamond here. And just because it is such a flat surface, we just want to be very careful with how we apply this. We don't want any tide marks. We just want a nice, even, consistent color. And that is what we got. There we go. So I will let this dry. Then we will come back and do our rivets, add a couple washes, a little bit of moss on the bottom, and it'll be all done. Alrighty, we are back, and we're going to start on some silver now for the rivets or screws, bolts, whatever they are. For that, we're going to use polished silver. Again, Speedpaint 2.0. And just very carefully come in and just dot these. Nothing very fancy. Just getting some color on them. And then we're going to come in and do some washes. And we're going to have to wait on some of it because some of the washes are going to go on these rivets. But we can start with a couple of them because they're going to be on the green that we did. So first of all, we're going to do Agrax Earthshade. And this is just going to be in the lines, the panel lines between the planks of wood. So just very carefully in here and in here and then in here and in here. Good. Then we're going to take some Gut Ripper Flesh and give it a good shake. It's one of the contrast paints that likes to separate pretty easily. And we're just going to put some of this kind of haphazardly along the bottom here. And then very lightly, we're going to put some of this around these rivets on the center pattern here, or center diamond here. A little bit too much on that one. Pull it back off. And then get it on this one as well. There we go. And then immediately after that, we're going to take some Striking Scorpion Green and just put a tiny, tiny touch of it on top of all the green we just did. Just to brighten this green up a little bit and make it stand out from the rest of the shield. There we go, just like that. And then, finally, we're going to take some Croak Green shade, and we're just going to put this on the metallic up here. So this will be very light. You might not even be able to see it, but it will tint the bronze just slightly towards a green color, and that'll help fit the theme of Living City. So I'm just focusing around the rivets specifically, like there's moss buildup or something around here. And then I might even put a little bit of this down here just to darken this up a little bit. All right, I think that looks good. So the only other thing to do is to put the transfer on. So right about now, you should be seeing the finished product with the transfer on. Everything all nice and dry. And yeah, pretty simple this time. Used a bunch of greens. That's always fun. I don't use green a lot in my paintings, so it's always fun to get something that really requires it. And hopefully that red tree in the middle that you should be seeing over there really makes that pop. So thank you everybody for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.